Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and functional nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook, so you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one size fits all protocols, just real answers, deep rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now, on to our show. And good afternoon, Natasha.
Hello, how are you? I'm so excited to be here.
I know I am too. We've already had a fabulous conversation before we even hit record.
If only they could have heard the last hour of conversation.
There's probably some really good nuggets in there that
I
people.
know, right?
But I'm excited that you're here and sharing your wisdom with our audience. And she is a co-founder of the $1 Million Mom Society, which is a incredible movement, media platform, and mentorship brand for powerhouse women who are ready to build profitable businesses without sacrificing key their wellness presence or purpose, which, that last part is really important because we were chatting a little bit about how people are moms, especially moms who are entrepreneurs, are just burnt out. And it's finding things that are scalable and healthy. And I'd love to hear your take on it. So give us a little bit more idea of who you are and how you got started in this line of work.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again for having me. I am Natosha Navarro. I am a mom of a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And Million Dollar Mom was born with my partner, Anissa Crespo, who also has two 5-year-old twins, so a boy and a girl twins. And she and I had kind of watched each other online. You know how it is when you're seeing, like we always say, like I was watching her, watching me, watching her. And then we hit each other up in the DMs a little over a year ago, more just to support each other, that whole collaboration over competition. After about 2 months, we realized, you know what, we could be so much more together than we are going, doing our own things and just supporting one another. So we really dialed in what our mission was, what we wanted to do, who we wanted to help, what we saw for ourselves as moms and as business owners. And that is how Million Dollar Mom Society was really born. But it also was to give a space for other women who are looking to do the same thing, but we're feeling the mom guilt. Because I know, like, I was really deep into that when I first started this, and I had a 10-month-old and a 2-year-old, taking time away from my kids and taking time away from my husband and taking a time from, away from doing all the house stuff. And it's just that constant struggle of wondering if you're making the right decisions and should you be doing all these other things? Should you just go get a 9-to-5 job? Not really knowing if entrepreneurship is the right path for you. So we wanted to create that space and let women know, like, there's a whole bunch of us out here that are feeling that same way, but we're here to support you and help you through every step of the way.
And I mean, that community is one of the most important aspects, I feel like, in entrepreneurship, especially
Mm-hmm.
moms, because it's a different beast.
It is. We actually have, so we are, I feel like you can learn from everybody, men, women, moms, not, it doesn't matter. I didn't become a mom until I was 41. So most of my life has been not being a mom, and I still built multiple companies. So I know also what that feels like. And it's not easier or harder one way or the other. Like as women, we're always the type of people who are multitasking and doing a million different things and pushing ourselves harder and trying to prove ourselves. And, it's never easy, but I will say it's different as a mom. And so when we have coaches or mentors who are telling us different strategies and things, and they're coming from a place of not having kids, I'm like, girl, I wish you would try that with an 18-month-old who doesn't sleep, and you get 2 hours of sleep every night, and then you wake up and you have your 3-year-old at your bed at 6 o'clock in the morning because they're an early riser. It's like, come on now, it's not feasible. So we wanted to be the coaches that also we can understand what it's like to be the woman building a business that doesn't have children and what that feels like, but we also can very much relate and are in the trenches with the moms who are feeling the stress of all of the things that come with motherhood.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I've dealt with that with multiple mentors where it's like, yes, all you're saying is relevant. And, it's not only just time or energy, it's just strictly capacity.
Yeah.
It's especially that earlier, very sensitive time in a woman's life, where your identity shifts and you're like, I want to push the way I knew how to, but I am being forced to slow down. And there's like this battle, right? journal is like, I want to do more. I want to be with my kids. Like, I want to strive for more. And then also, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And it's,
And it's like a real tired. And it's not like a lazy, I want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix tired. It is like every ounce of your entire being, soul
oh,
is depleted. You're like, I have nothing. I have nothing left. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit before we got started, but when I had my first son, I actually took a year off. I had never not worked my entire life. I had started working when I was 16 years old, and never a day in my life had I not worked. And I usually had multiple jobs, like a job and like side hustles. And I just was that I'm built that way. But then I had my son, and I was like, it took me 41 years to decide that I wanted to have kids. And then it took me 5 years to get pregnant, and I did IVF. So I thought, I'm going to take this year to really be present with him. And I know I can't do that if I'm focused on work.
yeah.
So I took that year off, but I also was like deep in postpartum depression. And then I got pregnant naturally for the first time at 43 when my son was 10 months old. And when you talk about the identity shifts that were happening in that year, it was enormous. Like the magnitude of that, I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. And I didn't really understand what was happening. And I felt like shame, and I felt guilt, and I felt anxiety. And there were all these things happening where I loved being home with my son, but it just felt like I had lost every part of who I was.
Mhm.
So I realized after that, when my second son was born, I'm like, you know what? For my own mental health and like for my own sanity, I have to have something that is mine. Like that has nothing to do with my kids, nothing to do with my husband, nothing to do with anybody else. It's like, even if this is just a little side hustle that I do, something where it's like my brain is focused on something that's just for me, that is well worth doing, even if it makes me no money. And so that's really where I started 2.5 years ago, was just with that. I honestly, it was just for my self-preservation. I'm like, I need to have something that's mine. And a lot of women come into our community, and some of them are further along in their journey. Some of them are empty nesters. Some of them are more, in the trenches like we are. But what we like to show them is like, it is okay to be where you are, and we are going to meet you where you are and show you like how to then get to the next place of where you're trying to go.
Yeah. The important that meet you where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing, maybe you've come from that. I've come from very, very masculine business mentorships where it's like, this is the way. You said you want to be successful, you do it this way, or you don't be
Lots of
successful.
bro marketing. Yeah.
Literally. And
Yeah.
that's what I did for a long
Mhm.
time. And it's not that it didn't work, it did. I got burnt out, and then I became a mother, and I was like, this ain't gonna work the same way. Um,
Mhm.
but people, that's the only way they know how. And then they maybe come into your kind of, community. They're like, wait, they're taught about alignment and meeting where you're
Yeah.
at. And, it's different. Um, so I'd love for you to talk a little bit on what that looks like when people come in. Like, what are the biggest things you maybe see as far as being an entrepreneur, being a mom, that you kind of help people guide, like you help guide people through, and then how do you kind of guide them through that?
Well, to piggyback on what you're saying, I came from military background. So talk about male dominated industry. And
Mhm.
then I went into corporate America but I was in government, like contracting. Again, very male dominated. And I was usually the youngest person by like 20 years. So constantly trying to have to prove myself and fight for my way and fight for my seat at the table. That really has been something that I've felt forever. And even coming into the digital marketing space, I thought, oh, it'll be different. No, it was not. There were still lots of men. Not that I'm anti-man, I love my husband,
Yeah.
but there were a lot of, from a representation standpoint, there were a lot of mostly men on there saying like, this is what you need to be doing. As a matter of fact, the first like 3 mentors that I hired were men, because
Mhm.
I didn't even really see any women that were doing what I wanted to do. I hadn't found my way into where I am now. So I was like, well, I guess this is how you have to do it. So it was just that hustle, hustle, grind, grind. And this is when I had kids, and this is when they were young. And I'm like, man, there has to be, I don't feel good about this. It feels icky to me. I'm like, it doesn't feel authentic. I'm exhausted. Like, it's just, I don't enjoy it. And even if it was just going to be something that made me very little money, I needed to feel like passionate about it and excited about it. So when women come into our world, we do have programs that are very strategic and strategy based. But a lot of what we are evolving into with like our mentorship, we have a mentorship called the Society that's like $111 a month. It's nothing crazy, and it's month to month. And it's really a place where we're talking about all the things. Like yesterday, we had a call and we had several of the women on there. Some of them were almost like breaking down in tears because they were like, I feel so overwhelmed right now. Like nothing I'm doing is working. And so we were talking more about mindset and letting you know. And then we were vulnerable, but like, hey, these are some of the things that have been happening to us. And these things happen at every level of success. It's not like you get to a certain level and then all of a sudden these insecurities disappear or these anxieties or these stressors. They just are at a different level. So having, and by the end of it, everyone on the call was like, oh, we feel so much better. Just having a space like that sometimes is really can make a huge difference in your business. And we overlook that because we're like, well, but where do I click this button? And what what hook do I use for this post? Like, that's great. But if you are feeling exhausted and drained and defeated every single day, eventually even the successes that you're having are going to go away if you're not feeling balanced. So that's really what we're providing is like kind of a one-stop shop where it's like we're giving you the strategies, but we're also giving you the space to be you, all of you, and know that you're accepted and it's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's important to have that space. I mean, I don't think people even realize how important it is till they get in that space. They're like, I really needed that.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's not like a venting. It's not like people are coming in and complaining, although that's fine too. But it's really like where people are able to come and be vulnerable. That is such a different thing where as women, a lot of times we're getting judged more by other women than you are by anybody else. And we actually like are particular about who can come into our community. So this isn't just like you pay and you're able to get in. Like if someone comes in and they have bad energy or they're whatever, we will kick them out of the community immediately because we really want to create this space where it's safe and productive and impactful, and people walk away and they feel like, not only do I feel better, but now I feel like I have a way forward. And like I see very clearly now how I can move to the next thing instead of like, how do I get to 100 steps ahead? It's like, how do I get to the next thing? And that's really what we want to try to provide.
That's probably happens a lot, especially in the entrepreneur world. It's like, I want to run before I walk. And it's like, you think about your toddlers, like your toddler ain't one day just up and running. It's like, nope, they got to crawl. They got to learn how to roll. They got to, do all these things. And it's like, you want to rush the process sometimes.
Hello, I'm one of those people. I'm a type A overachiever all day long. So I get it. Yeah.
But that's why we also have mentors, that ground us.
100%.
I think every mentor has a mentor, and we were talking maybe on this podcast or before, it's like, we're human too. And, we've taken so much of our experience, and why you're probably very good at what you do too is because you've lived it.
And that's why I think with our community, it's good. I mean, obviously there's a Nissa Nice, you kind of get two brains for the price of one, but it's not just about us. Like even on this call yesterday, other women were chiming in about how they're feeling and the things that they're doing. So it's a really like collaborative, collective.
Yeah.
And we love that because it's not about us. Like, it's not about me sitting here on my pedestal telling you, like looking down on you and telling you like, this is what you should be doing. We even got super vulnerable and said like, these are the things we're currently experiencing right now that are very similar. They're just on they're at like level 4 instead of the level, 1, but they're the same exact feelings. Nothing has changed about the feeling behind it. And I think that also helps when you've experienced it and you're willing to share, what you're going through instead of being like, oh, everything's so easy and beautiful here at the top. And, it's rainbows and kisses all day. It's like, no, this is not what entrepreneurship is about.
No, I think a lot of people in entrepreneurship think when they get to a certain income level that things, it's different levels or different devils, and it's the same, but it's, you have to find that internal happiness and that internal grounding or alignment, whatever it is first, then you can grow. But we want to do it the opposite way. And sometimes you can do it the opposite way, but that's when people crash and burn their companies down too. I've seen it so much in the last 2 years.
Isn't that crazy? Like that you really would rather burn your business down than to deal with what's happening internally and recognizing like it has nothing to do with your business. But we've also, like, we're in very high level masterminds, like where we spent a lot of money to be in these masterminds, and it's got 7, 8, 9-figure people inside of it. And it is so interesting for us to see like the peek behind the curtain of what they're going through. So it's like for our clients, they get to see what we're going through, but for us, we're getting to see like who we idolize, so to speak, going through and we're like, oh my gosh, like it's crazy the intensity of what is happening. You would never know that by their social media presence. And not that I consider that to be like false advertisement, because we all have a brand to represent and not everybody wants to share everything and we don't have to. But I think what it does is it creates unrealistic expectations for women as they're coming into their business, because they are comparing themselves against their step one against step 11 or 100. And they're like, well, why am I not as good as this person? And why am I not getting as much of this? And why? Like, you don't even understand all they've been through and even what they're going through right now to have that. Like, it is entrepreneurship as a whole is like, it has to be a passion. It has to be something like your why is so much bigger than you. Because if it is not, it will be real easy when times get tough to want to walk away and burn it down and be like, I'd rather go get a damn job than to feel like this and do this.
Oh yeah. And I mean that I don't know how much you tap on this, but you probably understand. It's like that's really where so much of this like deep nervous system work comes in. And people miss that a lot in the entrepreneurial journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the reason you want to keep burning things down or keep starting over or whatever it might be is like just internal regulation. And like, we have to learn how to do that first in order to scale, in order to be healthy, right? We talked a little bit about, the nervous system and its impact on your health journey. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn these techniques and that isn't taught. It's
No,
like only so much strategy that you can do if everything else is out of alignment.
for sure. I really feel like it's the whole person when you come into it. It's like what you're putting into your body. It's how frequently you're making time for working out or meditating. It's what kind of content you're consuming. Like, are you listening to podcasts? Are you surrounding yourself with positive, if you're having chaos at your house, and if you have toddlers, it's always chaos. But there's never a dull moment. But how much you can control about like what is you're being consumed as far as like what you're hearing, what you're tasting, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, like as much as you can have control over those things, like you need to take accountability and be proactive and control these kind of things, because it ultimately you can only sit behind your computer for so long and do so many things before, like you said, it's just all going to come crumbling down if you don't have a strong foundation.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If somebody was starting their journey, maybe they've got young kids at home, or maybe older, I'm sure it's a little similar but different, but, and they are maybe a little worried about starting their own business, scaling it. They've maybe tried it before, it hasn't worked. Like, what would be kind of some advice that you would give them to help just guide them on their journey?
I can tell you very specifically because we had these conversations yesterday, and it is funny because some of our clients are in their 60s and they're empty nesters, and it's like they're starting over because they're leaving jobs and their kids are gone now, and they're like, well, who am I? It's the whole identity paradigm again. Who am I without being a mom? Who am I without all this other stuff? It's the same thing as that feeling when you first have kids and you're coming in, you're like, who am I as a mom and who am I, before? So the advice is really the same, and it's like there are going to be so many times where you start something new and you have to intuitively, this is a really hard thing to grasp for a lot of women, but you have to intuitively understand the difference between fear and misalignment. It's like if you are afraid of something, that's okay. It's okay to work through fear because we're all afraid. If you're just like, oh, I don't want to be online. I hate social media. Like, thank God for my business partner because I'm very introverted. If you put me in a room with 100 people, I'll almost pass out because I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. But that is fear. That's not misalignment. That's just me getting in my head and deciding like, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. It's like the little baby goddess inside of me. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. But when it's misalignment and you're like, man, I don't feel good about this. Like whatever it is that I'm promoting or the program that I'm launching or the thing I'm about to do, like I'm not excited about it. I don't feel inspired by it. I don't really know if this is going to help people, but I just need to make some money. That is misalignment. And so if you can figure out the difference between those two, you will be able to go so far, because fear, you can power through. Fear, you can, talk to yourself and be like, I know it's scary, but you're going to be okay. You've never gone live before, but I promise you nothing bad is going to happen. And what's the worst that's going to happen? No one shows up. Oh, well. But if you are out of alignment, it does not matter how much you push past that. You are never going to feel good about it. You are going to feel drained. You are going to feel exhausted. You're going to feel overwhelmed and anxiety. And that is a very different thing. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. It's like how to determine what those things are. And if it's misalignment, then we need to figure out like, where is the misalignment happening? Is it your offer? Is it your messaging? Is it your who you're targeting? Like, where is it? Where are we off? And what can we bring back in so that you feel excited and passionate and you're able to get past and make your why stronger than the fear?
Beautiful. Chef's kiss. And if people wanted to find out more about this society, or I know you have a ton of other things going on. You have a big live event in November, right?
Yes. So a very high level overview. When we started our business, we were really known for Facebook groups because we rapidly grew a Facebook group and we made 6 figures in 6 months, and it was a whole thing. And that was kind of our platform. So you talk about like the alignment versus not. We just knew that wasn't going to be the thing that we wanted to do forever. Like, it was great and we did well and it helped a lot of people, but we just were like, this isn't going to light us up every day for the rest of our lives. So we started looking into other things. We started our own podcast, our own magazine, anthology books, and that led us to becoming a guest on a show called Legacy Makers and having our own episode that was going to air on Amazon Prime, and it's a big deal. But after we filmed it, we actually got the producers came to us and said, look, we liked you guys so much and your brand so much that we'd like to offer you your own docuseries. We were like, what? I mean, this was never on my vision board. I'm very introverted. I was like, that sounds horrible. I don't want to be on TV that way, you know? Is this going to be a reality show? And they were like, no, you get to, it's your show. Like, you're the producers. You decide what you want this show to be. So we really took a long, hard look at this and said, right now on TV, most women are represented in like one of two ways. It's like you're either on the Housewives reality show, or it's like, you know, the opposite spectrum where it's like the hard ass, da 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 da. So we wanted to kind of have this middle ground where we could show women, both moms and women who are not moms, but just women in general, as entrepreneurs in various stages of their journey. And we decided to do that by hosting a 3-day live mastermind retreat style event in Laguna Beach and bringing the production crew in and filming this. So it'd be like certain women, the 10 of the women get to come and be on stage and speak to us, but they also get to go in a room and get filmed by the production crew and tell their story. And it will be aired over the 6 episodes. So this is like a huge thing for us because this is something we want to do every single year and make it like a seasonal thing where we get a chance, we get to write the story and the narrative. We are actually the ones that get to edit it. So we decide what's on TV. That is so rare when a woman gets the chance to, like, she might go film a show, but then the editors decide what's represented for her. But we get to see what's represented for women. And we were like, that is the most damn power move I can think of. And the mission that we have is to like give women a space and the loudest possible stage and megaphone to be like, here we are. We are powerful. We can be all of the things. We can do all of the things, and we shouldn't have to choose if we don't want to. For those who want to be stay-at-home moms, that should be celebrated. For those who want to be mothers and have their own empires, that should be celebrated. It's like we should all be celebrated for who we are and where we are. So we wanted to do that. So that event is going to be in November. We have some spots open for those who'd be interested in being speakers. And yeah, we have our monthly society. And lots of our other strategic things, but all of that can be found on our website at milliondollarmom.org, O-R-G. So we are busy women, but like you said, we have both very much in the last few months realized it's so important that our health is the forefront. Like, if you're not healthy, you have nothing. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. So we have both made that a huge thing. As a matter of fact, I was telling you, I was like, I want to get one of those scans. Like, I love being proactive with my health. Yeah. So that is so important for us. And we are very big advocates of like taking care of the whole person as a mother, as a woman, as a wife, all of the things so that you can feel good about what you're doing.
Beautiful. And so true too, that last bit gets forgotten about for people too, in the hustle of all of it. It's like, you want to keep showing up as your best. You can't pour from an empty cup. We hear about that all day long. But to live it and breathe it and to also almost get the permission to do it, you know, especially from somebody who's building company, you know, it's like that alone for somebody, just be like, oh, well, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to tag your website, which I think has more info on all this, down below, or you can follow her on, what's your Facebook or Instagram?
It's Natosha, Natosha, because my moms like to be confusing. So it's Natosha Marie on Instagram and on Facebook. And then you can just search $1 Million Mom Society and it'll take you right to our group that has 15,000 members and it's free to join it. And we always have lots of fun things that we're doing inside of there.
Awesome. I will have to go join your Facebook group. I don't think I'm.
Yes, please do. That'd be amazing.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. I will link where to find her down in the show notes. And feel free to shoot her a DM if you found this really helpful, or me. We love to hear from people. And thank you for listening. We will catch you on the next show. Thank you, Natosha.
Thank you so much.